Right, let's make some shops. So I'm still on my Junktown build, so I'll make some shops for my players to get involved with and to just enjoy and further their quests in my weird junk world. And the first thing I'm going to build is this little shack thing. First of all, I cut off these plastic straws. You never find them anywhere, but I found a pack of like just pure plastic straws. I'm going to slap a corrugated guard as a roof, like a corrugated tin roof. So we dry fit these bits first, just to make sure they're going to go the way I want them to. And I found this like razor blade packet, and I thought that's a great set of shelves, so I'm definitely going to use that. And I found this packaging terrain, and as every wargamer knows, packaging terrain is terrain. So once I've cut everything to roughly the right size, I just start slapping it together. I wanted the shelves pointing outwards, which seems a bit weird, but it all makes sense later. And I use a lot of hot glue, mostly because I want to do this quickly. I'm only going to use this terrain maybe for 2-3 sessions on the table, so it's not going to be fantastically, amazingly detailed terrain. It is just going to be something for my players to do, something for them to get on with. And we're going back to plastic rules. You glue in any plastic down, you just want to give it a good sand. You want to sand the plastic. One, it'll help you glue things to it far more easily, and two, it will definitely make it easier to paint, because when most paints, you don't have a great adhesion with plastics, so you need to give it a bit of a shade, a bit of a sand before you prime it. You could not, but you know, you'll have really badly painted things, so I would. It's really easy, just get a bit of sandpaper. Now I wanted the roof to come off, I didn't want the roof to be on it all the time, so I thought, you know what, we've used hollow straws, let's just shove some toothpicks in there, and then we can take the roof off whenever we like. And then slapping as much PVA glue as I can on the base, and covering it in sand. I want to spray this because I'm lazy and don't want to paint it all in one go. So a bit of PVA glue, a bit of sand, and then I won't melt the foam with spray paint. And last but not least, I want to make a little shop sign. I made that out of just some bits I found. I burnt all the pipe cutters to make them look manky and old. There's a bodge sign. It's got a nice little dolphin sign. Look at that. Look at that. So I sprayed this really quickly with some black spray and give it Zenithal some grey. And then we're just using cheap acrylics to make it lovely, rusty, minging, natural colours. So all the ground is a nice dark brown. And I pretty much coat everything that's going to be metal and rusty in the same sort of brown, just because it's a good base colour for rust. Browns and oranges, they are the kings of rust. And if you zenithal it properly, it should pretty much do a lot of the highlighting for you. You could use an airbrush if you fancy, but I didn't. I should spray cans. And some more cheap acrylic paint, and just leave the middle bits dark and brown, because that's where the rust's going to sort of look the most effective. Or do it the other way around, doesn't really matter. Just leave chunks of it brown so it looks all rusty. And I gave pretty much everything a good dry brush silver. Even the bits that weren't necessarily going to be silver. And I also painted the shop logo white. You'll see why later. And then I was picking out some little details in whatever random colours I found lying in my box of paints. I'm not too bothered about making these look amazing, because like I said, I'm only going to use this in maybe 2 or 3 different games, but it's just something nice for your players to get into, and it just makes it a bit more impactful than a block that you tie shop to. You can see some of the sort of things they can buy, some of the components, which makes it a bit more interesting. When you've painted it all, I've got these little tiny like gemstone things. I think I've got them from one of my kids' craft projects that she finished. So they'll go on the outside. And just give it all a lovely dry brush of a nice light brown. This is like a cheap hobbycraft paint. So yeah, it was pretty simple. And this is the part of the video where I ask you very nicely to subscribe. If I get enough subscribers, I'll actually make a nice subscribe logo and not this one I stole off the internet. Which is followed by a terrible back screen. Anyway, back to building stuff. Right, let's make something else. Cool, so this thing's going to be like a a robot shop. The first shop's like meat sacks, humans, bipeds, anything with like that has hands, wants to buy guns and supplies. This is going to be like tech things, robot supplies, CPUs, batteries. It's going to have loads of different things like that in it. So I wanted to look a bit more high tech. The last one's very much a shed. And this one I wanted to look a little bit like an old sort of high tech military installation. I'm good at English, honest. And I was going to cover it all in like bits of scrap, but as I sanded it, I noticed this really cool texture. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to use that. That's a really cool texture. So as I sort of did it, I kind of thought, well, what I'll do is I'll bodge some bits of metal into it, but I'll leave it normal. But first off, on a door, it's like an entryway in. So I found these little, I think it's a little measuring cup, don't know what it is, on top of a glue lid. And it ended up pretty much being the right perfect shape. Make sure if you're going to burn stuff, you do it by a window, because plastic fumes are horrible, but you can burn plastic to fit itself pretty well. So yeah, bit of hot glue, bit of fire, and Bob's your uncle. It'll all fit in. But really, do that by a window. Don't breathe in plastic, no, it's really bad for you. There's an old door, it's looking alright now, it's looking like a door. I want to put like a giant like antenna thing on the top, so I've got things like a marble run, some toy from the charity shop that was missing all the bits, and I got like this crane. I didn't know what to do with it, but I landed eventually, when I tried every single piece of plastic I could find around me, with these things, like an old set of headphones that are totally broken. So I thought I'd use those like a big satellite dish. So I played around with lots of different bits of plastic, trying to figure out what fits and how it fits on. And then with a crack, that broke off. So we started using that instead. I tried taking the thing off and that wasn't working. I tried breaking it, that wasn't working. So I just decided to just use it as it is. So I gave it a good sand. I fit it all together. We clipped off some bits so it fit neatly. And we glued it on. Now I started cutting out some bits of foam that I was going to use as the metal sheets that were covering the outside. We'll get to that in a bit. I started doing it now with a PVA glue, and then I remembered the PVA glue takes ages to dry, and yeah, foam's bouncy. But you know, it doesn't take ages to dry, super glue. And I was well happy with that. Until it broke. So I started again, made a slightly smaller contact area with less faff, and I started bodging it back together. And that is actually quite secure now. I tested it. So at this point I just wanted to make one section of it like that, but we've got to rivet it. Does have some rivets. There we go, lovely, look at those rivets. Bright pink, they won't pink for long. Anyway, we sprayed it again with some cheap black spray, good zenithal highlight with some grey and white coloured sprays, and we just start painting stuff. As ever, if it's rusty, you paint it brown. If in doubt, paint it brown. Brown is best. Even if you don't end up painting it rusty colour, brown is still pretty good. And then I started painting all the little hexagons, which you might gather sent me a little bit over the wall. There I go, losing my sanity. Breaking my mind, one tiny hexagon at a time. Eventually all the hexagons painted blue, and then I had to paint all the other hexagons a different colour, so I decided to dip myself further into madness and paint a bunch of hexagons green as well. And yeah, that took a little while, and I started to question my life choices and my build choices, why I was doing this in the first place, but I persevered. I got through it. I very nearly got through it. But I also painted a little bit of big bits. I thought, keep the colour the same. So in my head, this is like a military, like sci-fi computer installation that the people of Deep Rust Rampart have just taken over and found it. There was a big bit blown out the side from either a battle or, just they blew it out themselves because they're horrible thieving types. So yeah, I thought that'd be a nice little story for why this shop's got a bit of damage, like battle damage on the side. And again, I'm painting it really big, bright colours because it's nice to have big, bright colours sometimes. And I'm not spending loads of time on it because I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this in game. There's maybe 2 sessions of this building, so I want to give the players something to move towards, something to look at, but I don't want to spend a huge amount of time making brilliant terrain for 15-20 hours that I'm just never going to use. So I can encourage you just make stuff. Just get building. And if you don't think it's going to be good, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? This is some glamour shots of my finished buildings with some other bits of terrain around them. They're really rough and ready, but I kind of like them. And they're going to give my players something to look at and something to move around, something to do. They look like what they're meant to be. It looks like a shop. It looks like a sci-fi installation. And it fits 28mm models really, really well. They all fit in there nicely. I made a little wanted board as well. Super quick. It just gives your players something to move towards. You haven't even got to finish the miniatures you make. As long as you keep on making. So yeah, keep on making. Don't stop. And hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.